So all businesses and organizations end up being a product of decisions that were made over the years, thousands of decisions, right? Hindsight is 2020. Often we think about hindsight usually in the negative way, right? I should have did this. I should have married her. I shouldn't have married her. Whatever those things are, hindsight is usually 2020 in the negative. Well, if you use hindsight 2020, you can see all the positive things that happen, but that's usually not how it's correlated with 2020. So I want to tell the story of paper transport success from my point of view. Again, thousands of decisions, some of them really big, some of them really small, but things that needed to happen to get the company to this point. I could tell you if the founder or the previous president, somebody else is telling this story, it may be a little bit different because there's so many that go into play. But I'm going to talk about three things: growth, innovation, and culture. And each one of those areas, there was kind of a defining moment through my point of view where the company did the right thing, made the right decision, whether it was a big decision or a small decision. So we'll start with growth. February of 1990, Lenny and his partner Roger sees an opportunity to start a trucking company. They go out and they buy 5 trucks. They hire some drivers. Typically, they are in the truck operating, filling the need for a large local company where their trucking company went out of business. Through that time, it was all grit, just getting the company going. And very quickly, they realized that they need help. They can't do this on their own. They had the humbleness to understand that they can't do it on their own. And their first pivot was to the city of Green Bay, the Chamber of Commerce. And they went to the chamber and said, we need some help. We're getting off the ground. We're growing. They got involved in the incubator program and got the support they needed on the administrative side to help their business start to flourish. That was back in 1990. The business took off through years. We're going to fast forward now 33 years to today. The business has been doing well. Again, from those 5 trucks to now about 1,200 employees and over $300 million, the company has really been a success story coming out of that incubator program. Coming out of COVID, we needed additional office space because we were growing pretty rapidly. We went back and not knowing exactly what to do, how we were going to accommodate the space, where we wanted to be, we again pivoted to the Green Bay Chamber. That was the first call to say, hey, we have this constraint. We're going to need some help. We want to be part of the community. Give us a hand. They took it from there along with us. What's awesome is we open an office right here downtown. It's kind of a temporary office where as we develop our permanent home downtown. But just by chance, and it wasn't actually even the first spot that we wanted, we happened to be right next to the urban hub. So every morning, which is the incubator program for the tech companies with the chamber. So every morning our employees walk through that same incubator program that helped us get to where we were. So again, the story there is around the humbleness and turning to the community for help. Critical and will be in the future. Now let's talk about innovation. A lot of people think trucking may not be innovative, but it actually is. There's a lot going on. When I started in 2010, or actually when I was being courted, I'll say that, to work there in 2010. I wasn't going to work there. I didn't even want to return the call from Jeff, who was the president at that time, because I had something else going on and I was just fine. But I decided to talk to him. He said, just come in on a Saturday morning. I just want to show you the office, and I want to show you something and just talk about our business. So I showed up on that Saturday morning, and he said, nobody's going to be there, so you don't have to worry about people seeing you come in and out of the building. And he opens up his laptop and he says, there's not many things in trucking that are sexy, but this is sexy. And he opened it up and it was a picture of a natural gas powered truck. And if you're in trucking, trucks are really cool. And I'm like, what is that? It was a natural gas powered truck. Paper Transport had bought 2 of them. The only company in North America to be operating a natural gas truck outside of the ports of LA in California. Everybody else was saying it couldn't be done. They went on a limb, they did it. That was enough for me to say, innovation is cool, here we are. So the big story was, hey, we're gonna hit a home run with this innovation. It went to, we had crazy success. We ended up building our fleet really quickly. We were really the only ones doing it. And in an industry where we have 300,000 competitors, it was a way for us to kind of break out and move forward. So that was a pivot point. But actually, I don't even think that was the most important pivot point when it came to natural gas. That got us on our growth spurt. We went from about 250 trucks to close to 500 trucks, kind of riding that wave of natural gas. But we got together as a leadership team. I remember it in our old building, and it was kind of a dim conference room. We're sitting around the conference table, and Jeff, the president at the time, said, "We're going to go all in on natural gas. We're never going to buy a diesel truck again." And at that time, well, that kind of sounded good because we're the only ones doing that. One of the members of the team, a previous president, stepped back and actually said, "Let's just think about this. Do we want to be known as the natural gas company, or do we want to be known as the innovative company?" Meaning we're always going to be doing that next cool thing for the customer. And it was just that pause. We didn't process it, didn't make a big deal out of it, but coming out of that, we just kind of subtly said, yeah, we're going to do that, and we're going to do all these other things. And at that moment, the pivot point for us was innovation is not a big home run, one event, but actually innovation is a series of events that continues on. Final piece I'll talk about is culture. And I'll start with these three numbers, 784, 789. We have an intentional culture at Paper Transport. Most of our employees don't know this story, so feel lucky. 784, 789. Very early on as a company was growing, Lenny, our founder, needed help, actually needed a computer and needed some systems, and he was advised that he needs a password for his computer. And Lenny, being humble, knowing that he wasn't going to remember his password, developed this scheme, which was 784, 789. If you look at the phone, it stood for Paper Transport, Great Place to Work. He did that not intentionally for the culture, but that's how he set his original password. Fast forward, the next president comes in after Lenny stepped aside and set forth kind of our first set of vision and values. And that vision and that purpose started out with to build a great place to work. And that was not directly correlated with 784, 789, but it was definitely carried through that nature and that importance of culture from Lenny from the very beginning. So now, as CEO of Paper Transport, the most important job for me is to carry that on and make sure that we're firm in our bedrock and our purpose of building a great place to work. So there's unwritten chapters in front of us at Paper Transport. We're not sure. Nobody's clear exactly where we're going to be as a company, but we know we're going to continue to grow. And I'm sure others may have different pivot points and different cycles where decisions are made. What I can tell you is, as we continue to grow in our success, much of that is going to come back, and we're going to have these decisions again around, have we turned to the community for help? Is innovation continuous and a series of moments, not one moment? And finally, are we embedded firmly in our bedrock, which is our culture and our purpose of building a great place to work? You may clap now.